do is this one, it's a brief one. I think I've heard about this incident before. This is a hilarious police thing to capture 100 criminals. So, I'm not sure if this is the police thing that I am familiar with or if it's a different one. So I'm not gonna say what I think it might be in case I'm wrong. So let's check this out. Funny police things? Okay, I'm all in on this one. And it looks like this was probably like in the 90s too, so this should be good.
On behalf of Black International, we have a big surprise for you this morning.
Operation Flagship was an undercover sting organized by the United States Marshal Service that lured wanted fugitives with a fake giveaway. The authorities went to great lengths to make the event as humiliating as possible for the criminals, even going so far as compromising the sting's secrecy by leaving hints and hidden jokes in the promotion of the giveaway. Despite this, the operation was one of the most successful stings in law enforcement history, and probably the funniest. In the 1980s, the US Marshal Service conducted a series of operations known as the Fugitive.
Okay. Can I just say, the blurring of the faces here looks like something out of a fucking... This looks like something out of the fucking Ring. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me the face blurring that was used here doesn't look like we're watching The Ring right now. Look at that. And that. And that. Yeah, like, guys, did you watch a videotape that you want to share with us?
In an effort to capture wanted fugitives and presumably fist them. Catching these guys normally presents some issues. For one, they're on the run, so tracking them down can prove difficult. Also, some of them may be considered armed and dangerous. If they're expecting the law to come down on them at any minute, they may be well prepared, and a confrontation with them could pose a risk to arresting officers and civilian bystanders. To avoid these problems, Fist employed a clever tactic that still proves popular across the populace to this day. Scamming. In a New York operation, fugitives were sent notices from a fake delivery company telling them to pick up valuable packages left in their name. They were arrested on arrival. Others were hit with the tried and true, "You have won the lottery, come and pick up your winnings." They were...
She won the lottery, you didn't even enter. Love that.
Arrested on arrival. In Hartford, Connecticut, fugitives were lured with free tickets to a Boy George concert. They were karma chameleons on arrival. These operations led to the arrests of thousands of stupid fugitives. The so-called get something for nothing schemes were great because criminals love some things for no things, and they'd lead themselves into capture instead of having to be hunted down.
And it worked because ask any police officer and they'll tell you, by and large, criminals are not the smartest of people. Hollywood has made it seem much different in that criminals are these like geniuses and they're so good at outwitting the cops, when the reality is the 90% of criminals are lucky when they outwit the cops. Because the majority of them actually do get found and manage to escape just by sheer fucking luck. Criminals, the average criminal is not some kind of, mastermind genius. They are just dumb. They, and more than a few of them are just average people that resorted to crime because they really didn't have any choice, or they found themselves just in this situation and reacted extremely badly. So, getting tricked with this, I mean, it makes sense because you're not dealing with highly brilliant people that would be able to see through this.
It also meant their guard was down and they usually came unarmed, meaning no one had to get hurt. The success of the Fist operations inspired the US Marshal Service to conduct a similar operation in a joint effort with the Metropolitan Police Department in Washington, D.C. in 1985. While pondering what devious plots they could deploy over dinner, two Washington marshals noticed the restaurant erupting into cheers over a televised football game featuring the Washington Redskins. At this point in time, support for the Redskins was rabid. The waiting list for season tickets stretched literal years. It should be noted that the Washington Redskins are now known as the Washington Commanders, because I guess at some point someone took umbrage with the fact that American sports teams are either animal, mythical figure, or minority ethnic group. Having decided that tickets for a Redskins game, specifically the highly anticipated December 15th game against the Cincinnati Bengals for the playoffs, would be a very tempting piece of bait, the Marshals and Metropolitan Police went about mailing invitations to the last known addresses of around 3,000 wanted fugitives. The invitations claim to be from the fictitious company.
Let's see. Flagship International Sports Television Inc., you are cordially invited to attend a brunch at 9:30 a.m. December 15th, 1985. At the Convention Center, invitation entitles you to 2 complimentary game tickets after the brunch. Okay.
Flagship International Sports Television, and promised free tickets to the Redskins.
Canado, just so you know, Twitch did not like you using Redskins. I cleared it through, don't worry, you didn't do anything wrong, but Twitch didn't like you saying Redskins. It instantly flagged that for racist.
Versus Bengals game as part of a promotion. Notice anything funny about the invitation? That acronym seems awfully familiar. This was just one
Wait,
of
what? I don't recognize it. Fist? What is fist? Did I miss something? What is fist? What is that an acronym for? I'm trying to think of it, but I'm... Hang on, I must know this because... Fugitive... Oh, it's Fugitive Investigative... Okay, it's called... That's what the strike team was called. Okay, I must have missed that in the video. I didn't know that it was called the Fugitive Investigative Strike Team. Okay.
That acronym seems awfully familiar. This was just one of the hidden references authorities snuck into the ruse, seemingly for no other purpose than to amuse themselves. Over 100 people responded to the
Nowadays, chat, we call that trolling. They were trolling. Yes, Revan. Uh-huh.
invites and were further mocked by little jokes hidden in follow-up communications. For instance, the supposed president of Flank.
Let's see. Arrival, please have 2 forms of identification with you so we can verify that you are indeed the winner. Again, congratulations. Sincerely, Michael... Was it say Defna? I can't read that.
Flagship International signed his letters and
I am Michael Detna. Detna. What? Oh, Detna is wanted backwards. I, Michael, wanted backwards. I am wanted. Yeah. Yeah.
as I, Michael Detnaw. Detnaw being wanted spelled backwards. On the phone, the fugitives would be redirected to
This is pretty fucking masterful trolling right now. The cops in 1985 were better trolls than modern day trolls. I'm gonna flat out state this. These guys are fucking brilliantly trolling these criminals. Better than anything they could do today.
the company's business manager. While they waited, I thought the law played over the phone line. The business manager himself was named Marcus Cran, a reversal of the
Marcus Cran. Marcus Cran. Narc? Yeah. Narc, yeah.
word narc. The fugitives were oblivious to these hints, as was the lawyer representing the local broadcaster for the Redskins and Bengals game, who issued a cease and desist order to Flagship International because the company didn't have a license to operate in the district. This was the end.
Well, the prosecutor didn't need to sign off on any of this. These fugitives were already wanted. There was no need for prosecutorial intervention at all. This was just the fugitive recovery team that came up with this. They didn't violate any laws. There was no entrapment. So they probably didn't even need to investigate any of this. Or the prosecutor didn't even need to oversee any of this. They probably did just to cover their asses, but it wasn't necessary. But it's funny that this fucking lawyer for the league is going, stop. Rather, it probably still needed an okay from the higher ups. Maybe not. I could see them, and again, I could see them consulting with the prosecution to make sure that they wouldn't be considered entrapment. But again, this is fugitive recovery. They don't have to. There's no concern here about evidence for a case. The fugitives are already wanted. So it's however they can get them, they get them. There's no need to preserve evidence. They don't need to build a case. The case has already been built. So that's what I'm saying. They didn't need to actually probably speak with the prosecuting attorney to even ask about entrapment. They don't need to worry about that. They're not going to be charging with anything new. The fugitives have already charged. They have a warrant for their arrest. So this is completely different.
End of the plan, and everything fell apart. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait.
The police don't. Was the end of the plan, and everything fell apart. No,
No, it
I'm
didn't.
just kidding. The police don't let a thing like the law get in the way of enforcing the law. And so, on the 15th of December, they arrived at the Washington Convention Center early in the morning to set up a reception party for the ticket winners. The center was decorated with banners and balloons, and undercover police posed as janitors, hosts, stewards, valets, and even mascots. It might look silly, but they were all secretly armed beneath the costumes, meaning someone was liable to get shot by the San Diego Chicken. The invitation specified that the event would begin at 9 a.m., but some people were so excited they arrived an hour earlier. Let me tell you, these were some happy campers. These people were overjoyed about this whole thing, not fully understanding what this whole thing was. Here's a big biker fella trying to give one of the cheerleaders a kiss. God loves a trier. Of course, these cheerleaders were undercover cops and were tasked with discreetly frisking the attendees for weapons under the guise of physical affection. Recognizing the danger in trying to arrest a crowd of over 100 fugitives in one fell swoop, the authorities decided to call groups of 10
Maximum troll energy detected.
Yeah. Hello, Carter. Welcome. I hope you're enjoying the live versions of what you've seen on YouTube. I know I'm having fun with this.
10 to 20 of them at a time into a separate room to listen to a few remarks from the host before being awarded their tickets. Of course, there were...
Wait, did they do what I think they said? Where they basically split them up into groups and did it like they brought in a group, did the thing, and then they'd bring in another group?
Swoop, the authorities decided to call groups of 10 to 20 of them at a
Okay,
time
they
into a
are,
separate
yes.
room to listen to a few remarks from the host before being awarded their tickets. Of course, there were no tickets, and when the host uttered the signal word surprise,
Thank you, Sniper
25
Bates.
members of the Special Operations Group stormed the auditorium in tactical gear, surrounded the fugitives, and hauled them off in buses waiting outside before the next group was called in. This fella doesn't look
Nice.
like he's in the mood for kisses anymore. A total of 101 fugitives were arrested in the operation,
Nice.
which cost $22,000 to organize.
Whoa! I want to
In
see
the
that again.
operation, which cost
Was he trying to get away or... Like, they dropped his ass. I'm trying to figure out if he was trying to pull away or not. I'm wondering if he was trying to pull away, or if he was just being dragged forward by this other cop, and the cop, like, yeah, I think this was 80s cops doing 80 things. and they just dropped his ass. They, like, 80s cops did not give a fuck. I'm thinking they just dropped him. Well, yeah, but look, here, but he's got this, he's coming in, like, they're walking him out. Granted, the film footage was sped up, but this cop is now ahead of him, dragging him by the arm. So this cop is ahead of him. And he's actually, like, backwards a little bit. I don't know. The footage makes it hard to tell. Maybe he did try and pull on them to try and pull away, and they said, and the first sign that they tried to pull is when they dropped him. That's entirely possible, because this is 85. They did not play fuck around. They will have you eating concrete without any hesitation. So it's possible he did try and, like, yank, and the minute he did that, they didn't even give him a second chance to do it, and they just dropped him.
To organize. Now, if you're an easily agitated taxpayer like me, you probably think that sounds like a lot of money, but it worked out at less than $220 per arrest. At the time, in 1985, the US Marshal Service typically spent an average of $1,295 per arrest. So really, this was a fairly cost-efficient method of arresting people, and no one even got hurt, which is usually what cost-efficient means. Operation Flagship has gone down as one of the most legendary and effective in law enforcement history. It was reported that the arrested individuals had between them 15 warrants for assault, 5 for robbery, 6 for burglary, 4 for escape, 19 for bond default or bail violation, 18 for narcotics violations, 59 for probation or parole violation, and 41 for a variety of charges from rape to arson to forgery. None were present for the Redskins' 27-24 victory over the Bengals. Well, if you enjoyed this video, I have many others for you to also enjoy, like the robbery where a man posing as a police officer convinced bank employees to hand over 300 million yen. If you'd like to see more of this stuff in the future, hit the subscribe button, because I release a new video every Friday. Until next week, stay safe.
Happy Flash International. We really have a big surprise for you. Everybody's under arrest.
I don't know.
Law enforcement in Lee County did something similar to this in 2011, where they pretended to give out tickets to the Iron Bowl game to people owing over $270,000 in child support.
Yeah, Alex, and to the point that Revan was just kind of in the theme of what Revan was saying. It could work for certain types of criminals. If the criminal was of the variety where it was like a serious criminal, these days serious criminals don't trust anything. And people are much more knowledgeable about scam shit. But for, like what Brevin was saying, where it's like, okay, free tickets to the Iron Bowl, something like that, you know, and there were people owing child support. So for, like, white collar criminals, it could work. But and Alex, it still applies. The logic still applies. It depends upon the type of criminal that you're targeting. Serious criminal acts, people, those criminals, their antennae are up far more than they were back in 85. And people are much more knowledgeable when it comes to looking out for scams. So for the minor criminals and, like, the white collar criminals, yes, it could work. You'd have to get a little tricky with it. But for the more serious criminals, no, they're not going to trust anything about, like, oh, you're going to get something for free, because either they're going to say, yeah, no, this is bullshit, this is a scam, or their buddies are going to say, no, this is a scam. They're generally stupid, but they are more cautious these days. With exposure to everything online, seeing all of these scams displayed on YouTube, hearing all the news stories about it on the internet, people are more cautious when it comes to scam type stuff. And so I don't think it would be as effective. Well, the serious ones or the ones that are scared. The ones that are scared will not fall for this because they will not risk it. Because they're scared. They're like, I'm not going to risk going for this. Because their brain is thinking everything could be a police setup. They're thinking, between what you see on YouTube and what Hollywood shows, because don't forget, a lot of people, when they see a Hollywood movie, they think it's possible in reality, no matter how outrageous you or I might see it, thinking logically. A lot of the average moviegoer will think, hey, what I'm seeing on the screen is plausible. And they've shown those kind of scams in Hollywood movies and on TV. And so the criminals that are scared will immediately think scam if something like this pops up in their inbox or in their snail mail box. They'll think scam and they won't fall for it. So it all depends upon the charge. It depends on what the individual is charged with, whether or not they might fall for it. Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely is, Demon.
If you wanted to get me, you could have came to my house, man, and they know where I live at.
Yeah, he's saying that now that he's been caught.